confirmation by the Senate is now all that stands between Vice Admiral Michelle Howard and history. President Obama recently nominated Howard to become Vice Chief of Naval Operations, the branch's second highest post. This would make Howard the first woman and the first African American to serve in that position. Joining us from D.C. is Regina Akers. She is a historian with Naval History and Heritage Command. Regina, thank you so much for being here with us. I do appreciate it.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
This seems very exciting to me, but can you talk to the significance of this nomination and presumed appointment to this post?
Yes. It's a good and exciting day, but it's also a historical day for the reasons you've mentioned, and also it is further recognition and acknowledgement of Admiral Howard's just spectacular warfighting, leadership, and management skills. It is also certainly a key milestone, a reminder of the contributions that women are making on a daily basis to the completion of the Navy mission and decision-making in senior positions. This is certainly a historically path-making event should the confirmation be made. When you think of that young enlisted recruit or that person in officer candidate school who can now say it's possible.
Indeed. Dr. Akers, and forgive me for using the vernacular here, but Vice Admiral Howard is a bad mamma jamma. I mean, she has already made history, hasn't she?
Oh, she has. There are many, many firsts to her credit. Without a doubt, she is the first African-American woman to command a ship, USS Rushmore, in 1999. First to command, or second woman to command an expeditionary strike group. And of course, the movie that just came out about the rescue of the Maersk, Alabama captain. She was actually heading a task force, 151, when that happened and given those commands that you hear in the movie.
Yeah, Captain Phillips is what you're referring to.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Walk us through a little bit of the history of the contributions of African-American women and men in Navy history.
Actually, I think it would be good to look at both of those groups in the sense that she would probably be the first to admit that she's standing on their shoulders. And if you look at what's happening for women today and African Americans and different minority groups, African Americans in particular, their contributions in our Navy go back to before we had a Navy during the American Revolutionary War. One example of that would be James Forten. And once that war was over, the next one that we could highlight would be the War of 1812. We're currently in the commemoration period for that war, and blacks constituted about 1/6 of our Navy during that period. In fact, their participation in the Battle of Lake Erie is immortalized in a mural in the Capitol building not very far from here.
Yeah, and the list goes on and on. I know there is significant contributions in the Civil War, World War I, World War II, which I don't think a lot of people realize.
I don't think they do. World War II is a good place to stop, if I may. That's when we had our first African-American female officers. And they were Harriet Pickens and Frances Elizabeth Wills. They ended up serving in New York City at the training facility at Hunter College. And they were joined by the first African-American to integrate our nurse corps on the 5th of March in 1945, and that would be Phyllis May Daly. So the Navy started that integration process during World War II, and that was, as we know, well in advance of the Brown versus the Board of Education decision.
Let me just jump in very quickly before we have to let you go. Would the accomplishments of Vice Admiral Howard be indicative of a nurturing environment for women in general, African American women in particular, in the Navy? You know, there's been so many stories in the news over the last many years. You know, whether it's military sexual assault or reaching that glass ceiling, not being able to progress so far. Is it better for women in the Navy now?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We were talking about Admiral Howard, but let's not forget Admiral Tyson, who's Deputy Fleet Forces down in Virginia. Let's not forget Admiral Nanette Dorenzi, who's the Navy's lead lawyer as the Judge Advocate General for the Navy. There are certainly other examples of outstanding women, and not just in the officer ranks or senior officer ranks, but in our enlisted ranks. If you think of Fleet Master Chief April Beldo, there are few people that even make that rank, period. So it's just that much more of a compliment to her and recognition of her contribution that she's able to do that.
Very, very quickly, is there any reason that you can think of that she won't be confirmed?
No, not at all.
All right. Dr. Regina Akers, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Take care.